Welcome to Threads of Enlightenment. Today, my guest is Lynn-dee, and Lynn has a marvelous story. I've been actually wanting to talk to her when we first connected because I cannot wait to hear her story. And I'm excited, probably a lot more than you guys that are about to hear this as well. But I know I'm excited to get a chance to hear Lynn's story. Lynn, what I want you to do is tell the people what your vision, how you got there today, where you're at with all of your businesses and your empire, and then what we'll do is just backtrack and talk from the beginning. How did you get to where you are today? Go ahead, Lynn.
Sure. As thank you very much yet again for inviting me to your space.
Oh, my
I'll
pleasure.
quickly start where I am at now. I'm a Tantra female
Correct.
sexuality coach. So that's
Mhm.
where I'm now. And then your question was, how did I get here? And the real thing I want to share is we don't really, somewhere our life destination is not really getting anywhere. It's just
Mhm.
opening up to the senses of existence around you, to all the goodness that there is. So it wasn't a destination to come, it was more a realization of this present moment in the fullness.
Mhm.
So coming back,
Yes.
there's always stories, and remember, we learn by stories. That is how our brain learns, and
Exactly.
and how
Mhm.
that's why Hollywood makes such tons of money because it's story creating. Okay, so getting
Yes.
back to that, I never had a vision regards to being a sexuality coach. In my life, I have never thought I would help people. Did you want to say something?
No, 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 no. I'm just
Okay,
listening.
I never. Okay, cool. So I never thought, in my wildest dream, I would be a sexuality coach, coaching people on sexuality. I mean, it's such a
Mhm.
taboo topic to speak about. Needless to say, that I would be helping people with that. So.
Yeah.
A couple of years back, many moons back, like 9 years back, I went to see a guy that does your numerology. So he
Mhm.
says to you, your numbers is this and this and this. And he said to me, your numbers scream sex, 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 sex. And at that stage, I was shy to the topic itself. So I was like, this guy is smoking something. I am not going to be teaching sexuality. So, and myself and my husband was having a chuckle about it. It's like, no,
Mhm.
dude, you have the wrong woman here. So, but that's how conditioned I was in that state.
Yeah.
That's why I say you have to. It's not a destination. It's just what is there to reflect back on to what is in that moment. And if I
Mhm.
had to go back to my story, and if I had to go back to my childhood, all of those instances I had as a human, um,
Mhm.
showed me actually this is my path. This is what I'm going to be doing. And
Mhm.
yes, I don't ask me a question and I'll lead you to that path.
Oh, I was going to get there. You
Okay,
had mentioned. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. You had
please do.
talked about your husband. So at this time before you started your journey, you're a married woman, correct?
I was a married woman then. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was
And
before I started
with children.
exploring my sexuality. Yes, I have 4 kids,
Okay.
one my own and 3 stepchildren. And those 3 stepchildren
Okay.
made me grow in so much ways. They all
I can
also a
attest to
story
that.
for
I was a
another
single
day.
dad.
Okay.
I was a
Okay.
single dad with 4 boys, so I kind of know how the children kind of help you grow and become who you are. So here you are, a married woman. At the time, you had how many children before you started?
So I didn't have any children. I was a 24-year-old
When
asking
24-year-old
asking
young
this
married
guy,
woman.
14 years older than me, just went through a divorce. So all the warning
Hmm.
signs to my parents was, Lindy, this guy's 14 and he's got 3 children. Are you sure? So all the warning signs was there,
Uh-huh.
and no,
And
I
so
still
when
went
you
for
got
it.
this, you went, oh, excellent. So when you got this information that okay, sex, 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 how did you, and you had to laugh about it. how did you get from that to taking your first step to begin that aspect?
Well, that was several years from there. There was 2 3 years. Life itself
Mm-hmm.
happened, and then obviously sex was on the table constantly, and it was always a nagging experience and a utterly avoidance experience because it would always go into what we don't want. So
Yeah.
I actually resolved on looking for help on the outside. I tried
Mm-hmm.
the normal, well, I won't say the normal route. I tried the Western route,
Mm-hmm.
where therapists and therapeutical stuff and pharmacy
Yeah.
try to intervene with all clever ideas, but that's still not
Mm-hmm.
what I was looking for.
Okay.
Mm.
And how did you get to the eastern side of where you started heading into the Tantra part of it? Was it what incident caused you to go that route?
Okay. I had no history. I come from a Christian background, so I had no history
Mm-hmm.
on other religions or whatever. That wasn't even speaked about me in my upbringing. So I had no cooking clue
Mm-hmm.
that existed. So a lot of my marriage, what I saw is I took my parents' parenting style and just applied it in my marriage, and that's where the whole confusion between myself and my husband came, how he was brought up. So that made a lot of questions to more questions. So
Mm-hmm.
I started implementing a lot of start asking questions. Is this really what I wanted? In regards to Tantra and to your question that you're asking, is what I did was I didn't have any background, and I've heard about the word Tantra. I had no background.
Mm-hmm.
So one night, myself and my husband was trying yet again for so many of time to try to
Yeah.
make something nice happen and not resolved
Mm-hmm.
into conflict again. So,
Mm-hmm.
so what happened is I said to him, okay, wait, I've heard this word. I think this word is here. Let's go look this option. And then needless to say, I Googled Tantra, and it
Mm-hmm.
means woven together if you Google it, if you wanted to know that.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
I okay, good. Put it in your information banks. So I googled it, and then my teacher came up on YouTube, and
Really?
I did, yes, and I did the experience. Well, we did that same night. Myself and my husband did what she said should do. She had a nice information
Yeah.
of thing there. And then after that, I said, "This is it. This is it." And needless
Wow.
to say, I she had a course there, and I said to my husband, "Okay, I'm applying for I don't know what. Let's do it."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, and we saw the cost in it, and for a South African, that's like a whole home loan to apply for this. And I said to him, we're going all full in, and he was full into this whole thing. And he says, we have nothing to lose. We can always gain from this experience. Well, he hoped in that case. So,
That's
and then
awesome.
next
That's
moment
awesome.
I applied, and I was in Mexico, and now I'm here telling the story.
Excellent.
Two,
How
3 years
long was
later.
that? That initial was how long was that tantra workshop? Was it maybe that you guys
Uh,
went
two
through? How long
two
was it?
years, 2 years.
2 years. And so he was a full partner then within your journey of the tantra sex. Is he a part of
Absolutely.
your yeah? Awesome. That is excellent. That's
He's
excellent.
he's a
Maybe
part of my whole
he
growth
should have.
experience as well.
Awesome, awesome. Next time I'll have him too, and we can we can all
Oh,
have a conversation. So,
he's not like me. He's not outspoken like me. He's not outspoken like me. But please, I would love that. I love setting the boundaries further.
excellent. So, how is it now with you? How so? okay, you guys went to the to retreat, and then you came back home. And what made
So
you go
it's
from?
not it's not a retreat. He didn't go anywhere. It is
Okay,
a online course that was, but it is
okay,
stuff that we do at home. But
okay.
ask your question.
So you guys went. You did your online course, and so
Yeah.
how did you move from okay, doing this with your husband? You're having an online course. You guys are studying. You're learning together. To say, okay, let's begin to teach people about it.
Okay. So the first 6 months of the course actually is hard on. So Tantra is initially just made for individuals. It's not made for couples.
Hmm.
So it's very individual work. So what happened is
Hmm.
I applied. It was me seeking for that. So my husband
Hmm.
left me for that 6 months. He saw stuff, and what happened is in the 6 month, because my teacher told us, you need to work on this on your body before you can even touch the books, because you must have a lived experience of what you're preaching,
Hmm.
lady. So I admire that, because that's where I learn and how I learn. I'm a practical
Yeah.
person. So what happened is in that 6 month when I started working on my sexuality, I also went to a therapist for I had a lot of issue with the kids because they were from a previous marriage, and that combined.
Hmm.
And when I started seeking deeper into my sexuality, these issues and my walls I created started dimming down. And I always wanted this nurturing, loving relationship with the kids, but I couldn't break through. So I had to
Hmm.
go to that. Needless to say, I didn't know this. I had to go on an energy level beyond all those shame, judgment, fear,
Yes.
regret, all those stuff that was there. I had to go beyond that. So, in order to love myself, in order for these pathways to happen. So, it's a state of being,
Hmm.
coming back
Hmm.
to that again. So, the first six
Yeah.
months, I started with the course. Yeah, carry on. Ask your question.
Yeah, first 6 months. No, I was making a statement about the part about the self love. I had to go through that journey too, and a lot of people don't know that that is probably, and I always tell it is the most important journey you will ever go on. The to get to know yourself. I used
Mm,
to walk around and kiss my hands and tell people how I love my color. I love myself. And I had to learn that because in a Christian background that I came from, we carry and we pick up a lot of guilt and a lot of
mm,
other things. And guilt had governed a great part of my life. And I had to go on that personal journey. That's why I lit up when I saw that you were on that journey as well, because I try to tell people that's where you start. That's where you start. It's scary, but it's beautiful. How was your journey?
I hear. I'm just feeling into what I'm going to say to you. So that is that is to me and you having this lived experience of what you just discussed, loving yourself, is it
Hmm.
can become a very catchphrase, love yourself, love yourself. So a lot of people can go
Yeah.
into loving themselves and just thinking of the idea, but it's more of doing.
Oh,
It's
yes.
you know
Much
so
more.
it's you can think about that you're loving yourself on the conditions of what the world says. Oh, this is loving myself. This
Hmm.
is loving myself. But that is in essence sense all conditions.
Yes.
That's you
Yes.
thinking you're loving yourself. That's not you loving yourself. So
Hmm.
it really, if it is to me, loving yourself means facing those uncomfortable feelings and
Yes. Yes.
still loving yourself, and
Yes.
facing that sexual
That's it.
moments where you
Hmm.
both want to attack each other, but you have
Hmm.
love and compassion for each other in that moment.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that is love to me, self-love. So it's
I
not just
I
having the
100%.
good days. It's not just that.
No,
That's easy. That's easy.
it's it sure is. It is visiting the dark places, and I tell people you go there to find out who you truly are, and as ugly as it is, you come out from that experience learning to accept this thing that looks ugly because of what? Because maybe parents, maybe culture,
Mm.
maybe religion tells you that it's ugly. And so you feel this intense shame and ugliness concerning this thing. And then you have to walk through that and realize and say to you, I am in love with myself. I am not perfect, but I
Mm.
like me. I like me. I like how I
Mm.
think. I'm striving to be better. But right now, this is the best that I have. I love him. And I would tell people that you are so special that you're one of a kind. You are an endangered species, I would tell my kid. And so, as an endangered species, you ought to love yourself like that because you are the only one in the entire universe as far as the one that we know right now. And so I look at myself in the mirror and go, oh my God, I just love this guy, but I love him with all of his fault. And so it tickles my heart when I hear people say yes and they have the understanding of what we're talking about, not just fairy tales. I'm talking about looking at the dirty
Mm.
stuff, the
And
dark
you
stuff, and still loving you.
and you saying that that words that you just reflected, that is very nice, saying that to your kids, and they need to hear that every day. So that really touched my heart. That is we are also feeling beings. I mean, before our cortex
Hmm.
came on board and made all these prescriptions of
Yes.
our life, we felt.
Hmm.
We are feeling
Yes.
beings. So,
Hmm.
like I said, the words should touch you, not just be knowledge.
Yes, I absolutely agree. I would tell people I took myself to dates and have conversations with myself about how are you doing? How is your day? How is your plan going? Every birthday, I would take myself out to dinner and sit down and have this conversation about, how was your year? Or how did you think it came out? What did you think that you could have done? And I would have these really intense conversations with myself, and then I would get up and go because I know everyone has some party plan for something. But I will always have these meetings with myself. I still have them today. I'm a grown man, and I take myself on my birthday out to sit down and just talk to myself. How are you doing, Ken?
Mm.
How's things and stuff like that. And I find that was one of the habits that I picked up as I began to grow and learn about who I am.
Profound meeting with myself. That is wow, genius. That is so needed in this
uh,
world.
It is. It truly is, and I'm very fascinated as we talk. I'm even more so fascinated with your story because of the Christian background. I know how we are placed in this box because of our religious belief that tells us certain things and certain things that are taboo, whether it's sexual or whatever it is, and we carry this heaviness with us. And as we begin to break through those heaviness, and I tell people, I don't think that a creator would want me to carry all of that. I think he
Mm.
wants me to be free. And so it is our responsibility to learn to be free and not carry the baggage of our parents, our grandparents, our society, our religious belief. Because I think when we do that, we kind of put this creator that apparently has created the entire universe, saw the intricacy in you and I to design us to that point, to design an ecosystem that is independent yet interdependent, and put him in this little box and say, you can't come out of this, because of our belief system. It's absolutely crazy to me.
Mm. Profound saying as well again, but there is, like Tantra also teaches us, there's consciousness in all beings, in
Yes.
all. And if that
In
is a fruitful thought, there's
hmm
consciousness in Hitler as well.
Yes.
So,
There's
no.
yes.
Mm. And remember,
Go
there
ahead.
is a choice at any given moment. Your choice is between the I'm still unconscious most of the days. I mean, we react still. Like I said, I'm not a master. We are
Hmm.
all human beings. We're not perfect, but we choose to see the unconscious and not to avoid the unconscious. So the unconscious is not just me and yours, Kane and Lindy. It's not mine and
Hmm.
yours. It's all's thoughts. Are
Yes.
all. This is massive. This is everyone is experiencing it. It's not just why am I feeling like this. It's everybody is feeling like that. It's not just you.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
it's making that conscious to to be seen and
Yes.
to have a choice to do with it what you want. Free will.
I absolutely agree. Yes, I think free will is the most beautiful thing.
Mm.
So I enjoy it. I try to, and with my children, I remember when they were young men, I would tell them that we have to be mindful of who presents before us. There are those that will present that will be acquaintances. There are those that will present that will become a friend, and there are those that present that you need to turn away and run. And so you have to have the insight and the awareness, the that total awareness to be present at every moment. Because most of the time, when we make a mistake, or not a mistake, when we step outside of our range, I guess, is when we are not paying attention and being in that awareness.
And that comes back to knowing thyself. I don't know why I'm saying
Yes.
that in a Shakespeare way. Knowing yourself.
It is a Shakespearean revelation, I think.
And that is coming. And a level, what you said there is, it's a level of discernment. And I couldn't
Yes.
when I started tapping into my sexuality, power, whatever you call it, I just led like a sheep what everybody else was doing.
Hmm.
And I had no
Yes.
cooking clue, and I was just following with what was going on. But when you have that awareness and that
Hmm.
well, not contentment, that's not the right word, but if you have this complete reference from where you are and what you actually are, then
Hmm.
you choose from that aligned space, not from what are we creating these days.
Yes.
But all is a
So,
reflection.
so how is so here's this person married with children and gets this awareness, went to class, went to school, gained the knowledge, and then has this eureka moment going, I'm going to teach people about tantra sex. And how do you take that first step to now taking this part of your life that was, I guess, there's a weakness in it. I don't even want to say that, but you take it and you make it into something. Here I am. How did you get there?
So I didn't have an aha moment that I want to teach it.
Mhm.
I just, I just,
You
I
usually
just,
don't.
I just I just lived. And as the moment presented itself to me, it was saying, okay, this is the next level. And that is like self
Mhm.
development, self discovery, sexuality,
Yes.
whatever you want to call it or label it as. That is, you
Mhm.
have this prescribed idea and it never works out like that, even if you think it does. Um, so
I agree.
there is much more levels. Like you say this, I could never entail me speaking to you, Ken. I mean, my life's calling, opening to my heart and just following each
Hmm.
moment, going with the flow, led me to this. If
Yes.
I still
Yes.
believed my mind, I would still be sitting there and I don't know what I would be doing, but I would be crying, oh, my life, my life. So to answer your question is each and every moment, it's like climbing a ladder, but yet again, to your beginning of your question, there's no destination to come. It's
Yes.
trying
Hmm.
to climb the ladder, but not being obsessed that you must climb the ladder, and understanding this step is the only one that matters, not all the steps that's
Hmm.
above the ladder. So
Yeah.
to me, it was okay. Now I need to get my certification. Okay, let me get that done. So I worked on my
Hmm.
certification, all the requirements. That's the step that's required. So I didn't,
Hmm.
yes, I had to die to myself constantly to say,
Yes.
I want it like this. I want to look like this. I want to build an empire. I'm going to have this people. And it was like, that was causing my suffering again and again. And I'm like, come back to the ladder, come back to the ladder. So,
Hmm.
I hope that answers your question.
The point I was trying to get to is that it's never really laid out. It is things
Mm.
that, a series of things that just happen, and before you know it, you're here and you're standing here going, wow,
And
and
it
you
becomes
kind of look at
effortless. It's like,
yourself and you're,
how did I get time?
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so you're standing here and you're like, oh wow, I'm actually doing this way, and it's not, sometimes a lot of times you don't plan it. You just, I know for me, I didn't plan any of this stuff. I it just happened. I'm here doing podcasts, talking to people, stuff that I would never ever in my life think I was going to be doing. So it's that type of thing that happened as many, because people ask me that same question: how did you get from A to B? I don't know. It's just, one day I decided to do this. I was laying down one day and I said, you know what? And then my decision based on that, I would get up to do something, and then several days later, a couple of weeks later, it went a different way. So it's just that you have to be open. I tell people all the time, you have to have this life of and a heart of openness to allow things to happen. This guru that I went to an ashram, she had said, let life disturb your comfort. And I thought that was one of the greatest things I ever heard. And so I think that's what it is. Life just disturbing your comfort, because we get comfortable in our routines, our Christian belief, our parents' way of living, our society direction that we ought to be here, we ought to behave this way. And then life has a way of coming in and saying, well, here I am, and you have to make some choices at that point.
What I've seen with my own experience, and that is true what your guru said, is making life your, what was the word again?
Let
The
life
true test, or
disturb your
what was it?
comfort. Let
There we
life
go.
disturb
I'm
your
gonna
comfort. Yes.
I'm gonna write it down so I can remember that. I'm gonna still put.
I'll email
But
it to you.
what?
How's that?
Okay, thank you. So what I've seen with that scripture, or that thing that you said there, is it was easy for me to, when I started this, to just meditate on my own, to get that bliss and beautifulness. Oh, it was so easy. But as soon as I open
Yeah.
that door I'm in my family, I am the monster itself. And and then, well, I wasn't a monster that bad, but okay, I'm just describing it for the sake of it. So, and as well, on my sexuality, it was great doing it on my own and experiencing this blissful ecstasy moments. But as soon as a partner came
Yeah.
in, it was like, hey, this isn't working. So that is so true for my lived experience. So I started using I got an aha moment. Yeah. So I started using to say, put the meditation into your life itself. So it takes a master, not a master. It takes a level of just practicing it before you, because there's a level of recreating the same stuff again and again and again. So there's a level
Yes.
of connecting to yourself so you can feel grounded and stable before taking the meditation into life itself. And then,
Yes.
boy, do I learn. So life is my meditation, and boy, do I learn. I learn constantly, and that's why I have on my bio a student for life, because that's the whole point.
That's the whole point. And I enjoy my life. Like I said, I enjoy traveling. I enjoy meeting people. Some of the best times I've ever had in my life was when I had decided, back in the day when I used to party a lot, as they say. In the midst of my partying with my friends, I told them, I said, I need to be by myself. And I went on a sabbatical. I stopped dating anyone. I stopped doing anything with anyone, basically. But I'd hang out with my friends, but I would stay to myself. And I took this journey to find out who I was. And some of the best times I've ever had in my life was when I took myself to a sushi restaurant, or someplace, to a park. I sat down by myself, or something like that. The people that would be attracted to me as a result of me sitting on by myself, someone would walk by and we'd have a conversation, and it was the most intense thing. It's not something that you planned. And so I would go to a restaurant, and a person would come and sit down, or a waiter or waitress would sit down, because they would see me by myself, and they're like, aren't you waiting for, is someone else coming? I'm like, no, I'm here, to treat me to myself out. And so that would intrigue them, and we would sit down and have the most intense conversation. And so I would encourage anyone to date yourself for a little while. It's extremely
Well,
fulfilling. you know
I still, and I teach this in sexuality as well, is your pleasure is not your partner's responsibility. It's yours.
Correct.
It's not your partner. So we have this false idea that we have to please our partner to get some stuff, or to vice versa receive, and so. But it's actually accepting if your partner is not feeling it anymore in that moment, because we go through seasons, and as you mentioned, I also was there, where I there was a season where I just wanted to be by myself. That was
Hmm.
nurturing to me. And
Yes.
who knows what tomorrow or 5 minutes from now brings? Because that moment
Hmm.
has so much more qualities to learn. And not one moment
Yes.
is the same. Not one moment, not even 1 second. Me having
Mm-hmm.
this conversation, all the pureness, the goodness, what I'm seeing, the colors, it's not going to be there anymore a second from now. So it's embracing, yet again coming back to embracing everything right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll just like to add that. I don't know where I
what
was going with that, by
what
the way.
advice what advice do you give someone? And then after this, I'd like to for you to tell us more of some of the things that you do currently, by coaching and any type of retreats and stuff like that you have, or what you do. But what advice would you give to someone? Because I know people ask me this question, and I try to ask it of other people because I gather information because it's not always the same. Because as we say, things happen, and before you know it, you're here where you are. So, what advice would you give to someone who is, I guess, what do I do with my life? And as far as taking a step and trusting, I guess, trusting themselves, start that journey about self love. Talk to them about that. How important? What do you feel? I think that's probably one of the first steps that they need to do.
And so that comes back to the question of free will. So we
Yeah.
all
Hmm.
have a free will to choose if that is an option for us. We don't have to choose. They don't have to choose to self-love. But we are saying that it's experience that they can choose, and
Hmm.
you could. I don't want to put marketing tips to it because I'm not selling you anything. I'm just telling you to embrace into your into your love itself
Yeah.
that's there, and it's free of charge. And we have this misconcept that we need to do in order to receive. That's
Yeah.
also not true. So
Hmm.
for a person that really into the first step is, where do I start in choosing the self-love if I want to cultivate it? So that had to be a choice from themselves, and there's no wronging them
Hmm.
if they don't have self-love. That we are all just in different levels at different stages, and we all, yeah, just to remember that we can always return to love at any given moment.
Hmm.
So, for a person, that said, so if a person had to choose and want to cultivate that, I would say we are disconnected to pleasure. And pleasure is seen as this porn industry type of. I'm using that as an example because I don't have another
Hmm.
example, but we get over addicted to something. So the reward system in our brain gets rewarded, and then we just want to obsessed about that. So it's getting back to what brings you pleasure in a balanced way. So
Hmm.
pleasure doesn't have to look like the core sexuality at the moment, but that is what I
Yeah.
want you to go to. But coming back,
Hmm.
just to say that we have pleasure centers in our bodies just for pleasure alone.
Hmm.
We are made
Yep.
for pleasure. Giving that, and then starting small is what brings you pleasure in that moment, and cultivating more of what brings you, but also balancing in it in a harmonious way that you don't get addicted to it. So there's a very fine line.
I'm
You need
sure.
to see the you need to see the thread
That comes with a lot of wisdom, I guess, and understanding how
trial
to
and
balance
error.
that.
Yeah,
That too, Oh man. So how is your vision today? Where are you in how you are putting yourself together and making yourself available to people so that they can get access to you to gain some of your wisdom as to how to help them sexually, and even because a lot of the things that we've talked about is even beyond that. So how do you get them to come to your places, or where you can now guide them to experience sexually, and as well as emotionally and mentally and so forth? How do they get to you?
Okay. Are you asking the question they get to me like on platforms? Are you asking that?
Platforms, as well as, do you have like group meetings? Do
Oh,
you
yes.
meet
Yes.
coaching treats,
Oh,
stuff
cool.
like that?
Okay.
How can they come and be a part of your experience, that you can now teach them how to take that experience and become even someone like yourself, or maybe start their own little thing?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you very much for having the space for me to say that. So I have a Facebook group that I
Hmm.
call Royal Path in Love that people can join.
Hmm.
That is just to I educate people there constantly. I inspire you with a lot of stuff. I wouldn't say I'm spanning you because I'm just throwing you with love the constantly. That's what I'm doing. So if you get annoyed, you could leave the group at any stage. But that is that option if you wanted to grow
Hmm.
and get inspired on a constant basis. Then I have a once a month I have a breathwork session. Have you been to a breathwork yourself, Ken?
No. Should
Wow,
I?
you need to come to my breathwork. Yeah. So I have that once a month. It's an hour
Okay.
for people to experience what the transformational of breath can experience and to liberate yourself. And it's all
Hmm.
natural. That's so cool and it's free
Okay.
and it's a tool nobody can take away. You have it in your body. So, and then I have, what do I have as well? I don't have retreats yet because we're on lockdown. So I'm
Hmm.
really, my soul is craving, or your spirit or your divine, whatever source is craving to have people in a physical form, but I'm not there yet.
Hmm.
So I'm online and I do it online on online platforms. I get people
Okay.
to do it in groups, like I said, once a month. And then I do one-to-one sessions. And that's really intimate. And I really love asking a million questions like yourself to get to what you are really wanting.
Excellent. Do me a favor and provide those things to me, so when I post it on all the
Mm.
platforms that I have, I'll post them all so that they can reach you and get a chance to experience all the fun stuff. And I'll also join the Facebook group so that I could be spammed, as you said.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I like that.
So I will definitely join so that I can be a part of it, and I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I have had so much fun with doing this thing. It's like I want to continue and not stop, because we're having such a great time. And I know I want to, for me personally, Lynn, I wanted to thank you for actually just waiting patiently on me to get all of my things together while I went through my lesson for, as you mentioned, I learned some patience. And so I'm so excited, and I can't wait to get to be a part of some of the things that you're doing. And hopefully one day I'll get a chance to be at one of those retreats, and so we can get a chance to meet, because I know you're in South Africa and I haven't been there yet. you know
Yes, it
so
needs to be on your travel
um
list. Come on.
I'm looking forward to it. But I wanted to thank you for coming to Threads of Enlightenment. We are excited to have you, and I can't wait to, as I said earlier, get a chance for the people to get a chance for my people to meet you and to connect with all the things that you're doing, and on how you can take them to experiencing something new about themselves, even to a deeper level. I want to thank you so much for all that you've done for us so far.
Okay, I am grateful myself. So thank you for very much for opening this space and being so kind-hearted for me to speak, to be
Oh
heard,
no, it's my
and to
pleasure, and I promise I will have you on all my platform, and we're gonna do this again. I want to have you come by and
we're
keep
gonna have my husband on.
educating us. Yes, have him come on, and truly, again, this space at Threads is for us to help each other, and help
Mm.
people as well. So as you and I talk, I know personally you've helped me, and you've given me some things that I'm going to look a little deeper into. And it is my hope that we have these conversation, these breath of exchanges, that we would grow, our audience would grow, and that we would get a chance to experience each each other at a different level.
Serving together humanity. I like that. That comes to mind.
Amen. I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
Ken.
much.
Thanks.
All right. Bye. Everyone who's listening to this podcast, we hope to continually help you to learn how to embrace moments of darkness, because it is in the darkness that we learn how to develop and use our abilities to truly see those parts of ourselves, often invisible to us, in the light. It becomes your responsibility to navigate through all of your trials, to find out who you truly are and begin your journey to loving yourself, which is possibly one of the most difficult things you will ever do in your life. To love yourself and to find the real you, but always remember to enjoy the journey. Thank you for coming by. Please subscribe, and if you can support us financially, we deeply appreciate it.